Your business will always need to work on new ideas and opportunities to grow the product, attract more users, and increase sales to stay ahead of the competition. Easier said than done, right? So, if that's you, whether you're a product manager, an innovation expert, design lead, or a consultant working with teams, and it's your job to be innovative and come up with new ideas and solutions, then stay with me. In this video, I will share a repeatable, reliable 8-step system for consistently coming up with endless ideas and opportunities for your business, and doing that quickly with full leadership support and confidence. And don't take this as something optional. Everybody, every company needs to find new ideas and opportunities to stay relevant. 3 months ago, I sat on a call with the CTO who told me that he'd like his engineering teams to come up with 3 innovative ideas for each quarter, and he thought hackathons could achieve that. So here we are, 3 months later, and obviously that wasn't happening. Not because hackathons don't work, but because they require quite an effort to organize, especially on a quarterly basis. They'll be looking again at this in Q2 at some point, because right now they undergo some internal transformation. Or maybe your company has the opposite problem: too many ideas, huge opportunities flying around, promising concepts, but nothing really moves. The head of product in a large IT company shared that they sit on 300 potential AI cases, but they're stuck. Not even one has turned into an actual working product. And you might be somewhere in between. You've been asked to drive innovation, to come up with solutions, to figure out what's next. But then you're buried in your day to day grind, stakeholder demands, and meetings that go nowhere. You may have great ideas, but when you try to pursue them, you get caught in approval loops, prioritization debates, or just simply face pushback. And that's frustrating, and it's highly inefficient, and it's completely avoidable if you have the right approach. Fortunately, there is a system that you can start using right now to drive action, to give your ideas more traction with fewer meetings and more action. Hi, I'm John Vetan. I have 15 years of experience building digital products and making every mistake imaginable. And that led me to realize that the most important thing to have a successful product is finding the right problem to solve and get quick evidence that your solution is working. And after that, execution is easy. Now, I help companies like eBay, SAP, and Red Bull find the right problems to solve and validate solutions fast before committing enormous resources to build them. So, why finding the right opportunity is so challenging? There could be many reasons and factors specific to each organization, but in my experience, that comes down to two main reasons. The first one is that most companies are optimized for execution. They know how to build, launch, and scale, but they don't have systems in place to find the right problems there. And then the second part is they don't have a structured way to test ideas, fail fast, and learn before making big investments. If they do have a process, it's often slow, bureaucratic, and designed for approval, not discovery. It's most likely a gated process that requires writing business cases, estimating effort and impact, and going through endless approval cycles, all without any real validation. Not only is this slow, but once you're down this path, changing course becomes more and more difficult as things are in motion. It's like trying to steer the Titanic when the iceberg is already in sight. The other challenge is that this is not a solo activity. You need to collaborate, get stakeholder approval, support from your leadership, input from your team to flesh out viable solutions. The default for collaboration is meetings, lots and lots of them. The sheer volume of conversations required to align people kills momentum. So, to sum up, finding and validating new ideas is hard because organizations are built for execution, not exploration, and collaboration is slow and inefficient in most places. And yet, these are the exact constraints I work with when I help massive organizations figure out what problems to solve and how to test solutions to them without wasting time or resources. I can't ask for a company wide transformation each time I go to work with one. I need to work within those constraints. And today, I'm just going to show you how. I'm going to share that system with you to find and prioritize the right opportunities, validate solutions for them before you build anything, and align your stakeholders and leadership in hours, not months. And the good part is you don't need months to implement this. You don't need permission. You don't need endless meetings and stress. You don't even need to be the most creative person in the room. You just need to do focused work, following a simple, structured approach. 8 steps. That's it. Here we go. Let's see what happens at each stage. First, you'll need to find and identify some opportunities. And don't worry, you don't need 100 ideas, just 3 high potential ones. I'll show you how to do that. This takes just a day or two. Then you'll need to prioritize them with stakeholders and get their buy-in, and you'll do that in a couple of hours. No more chasing approvals for weeks. Next, gather customer insights. This is a data-driven process, so you'll need to uncover pain points, barriers, and challenges to inform decision-making and ideation during the next phases. Using this, you will define the problem statement, ensuring everyone is on the same page and focused on the right challenge. From there, ideate solutions, leveraging the collective creativity of your team to explore different approaches and include their perspectives. Now, you'll need something tangible. Prototype a working concept in just a day using AI to accelerate the process. And you don't stop here. You will test that with real users to see what actually works, what doesn't, and why. Finally, it's time to move to action and pitch. Armed with this evidence, get stakeholders' approval and set the stage for implementation. I know what you're thinking. This sounds like common sense, right? Absolutely it is. But what makes the difference is how we do it. The techniques we use blend battle-tested frameworks like problem framing and design sprint with short, focused workshops and customer validation. Every idea that moves forward is backed by data and buy-in. So next, let's break down what happens at each stage. The first step is to identify opportunities. But let's be clear, this isn't about brainstorming 100 ideas, as I've said. You only need 3 to 5 high potential ones to move forward. So the question is, where do you find them? Start with your roadmap. Look at the biggest unresolved challenges. What's been sitting there for too long? What opportunities have been postponed because there was never a good time? Then look at your competition. What are they doing that's gaining traction? Are there trends they're jumping on that maybe you haven't explored yet? More importantly, what gaps have they left open? You probably already have some of your own ideas, concepts floating around in past discussions, or those, we should do this someday thoughts. Now is the time to bring them to the surface. And what about AI driven opportunities? Is there a way to leverage AI to make your product better, smarter, more efficient? Even if the idea is vague, like let's do something with AI, that's okay for now. Your team is another goldmine for ideas. Engineers, designers, marketers, everyone sees different angles of the problem. Tap into their insights. And don't forget your stakeholders. They have priorities they care about. Identifying ideas that align with their goals will make your job easier later when you need their buy-in and approval. At this stage, don't get stuck in perfection mode. Your ideas don't need to be fully formed or customer validated just yet. That comes later. For now, pick 3 to 5 that seem to have some business potential. That's it. No overthinking, no endless discussions. Just select, write them down, and move on. This is work that you do on your own. It should not take you more than a day to do it. Now that you have your opportunities, it's time for the next step, prioritizing with stakeholders and getting the approval to move them forward. But this won't be a regular meeting where a dominant stakeholder takes over and pushes their agenda, where the loudest voices dominate. Instead, you'll run it as a structured workshop designed to align decision makers and get their buy-in early. Bring together the stakeholders whose approval you need on these topics. If you couldn't generate opportunities in step 1, as we discussed, you can even use the first part of this workshop to collect ideas from these stakeholders. Now, once you have your list, it's time to evaluate and rank these opportunities. And here's how you'll do it. Each idea will be assessed on 4 key factors. How urgent is it? Is this a problem that needs attention now, or it can wait? How unavoidable it is? Will this issue escalate if ignored, or is it optional to tackle? How serious are the consequences of maintaining the status quo? If you do nothing, what's the impact? And finally, where are the gaps in existing solutions? What's missing in what you already have? This workshop is called the For You Prioritization Workshop and comes from Harvard Business School. Fancy, right? And you don't have to create anything from scratch. You can use the free template from us, Design Sprint Academy, and check out Dana's video tutorial linked somewhere here on how to facilitate the session. By the end of this session, you'll have a prioritized list of opportunities Some may be dismissed, others will stand out as clear winners. You'll also have a strong understanding of who your target audience might be, and most importantly, your stakeholders will be aligned. To keep the session fast and effective, focus on 3 to 5 opportunity stops. Any more and it will take too long, people will lose focus, and the quality of discussion will just drop. At this point, pick just one opportunity to move forward with. If you want to take more to the next steps, of course you can, and you can run steps 3 and 8 on the other opportunities later. With your top opportunity prioritized and aligned, it's time to move to step 3, gathering customer insights, where we bring real user data into the mix. You need the hard evidence to define the problem or opportunity with confidence. Without data, you're just guessing. And that's pretty much what we've done in the previous step. Lots of assumptions. We need to add more meat to the bones. So, how do you get this data? Well, start with what you already have. If there's existing research, use that. But don't get lost in spreadsheets, PDFs. Focus on qualitative data first. User interviews, feedback, customer conversations. This will give you the why behind issues. Quantitative data is useful, but only if supports insights from qualitative research. Numbers alone don't tell the full story. But what if you don't have existing research? No problem. Run 4 or 5 quick customer interviews with people who are actually affected by the problem you prioritized in the For You workshop. Keep it simple. Record interviews using Otter AI and make sure you capture everything. And then extract key insights with ChatGPT and summarize patterns, which you can cluster and organize visually in Miro AI. Making it visual is key. Stakeholders process and act on information much faster when they see insights rather than when they're buried in a 10-page PDF report. This entire process shouldn't take more than 1 day. Once you have your insights visual and mapped out, you'll use them in the next step, defining the problem statement so that everyone is aligned on exactly what it is that we're going to want to solve. Now it's time to bring your stakeholders back into the process to refine and define a clear, confident problem statement based on the opportunity they prioritize in the For You and the data that you collected. This isn't just about writing a problem statement. It's about getting everyone aligned. And I'm going to repeat that so many times on exactly what needs solving. So there's no debate later. To do this, you will run a 2-hour problem statement workshop. You can use our Miro template from Design Sprint Academy, which is designed to streamline the process, and watch live the demo we've done in one of our webinars linked in this video here. 2 hours that could otherwise turn into 2 weeks of meetings filled with guesswork. By the end of this workshop, you will have a problem statement that's backed by real data, answering these key questions. Who has the problem? That's your user. What is the problem about? When or where does it happen? And why is this important? Why should we solve it? What's the value for the business, but also what's the value to the customer? But the real win isn't just defining the problem in a template like this one. It's getting stakeholder alignment and their blessing to move forward. Once you have this problem statement, you're ready for the next phase, finding the right solution to the problem. Remember how I said you don't have to be the most creative person in the room? Well, that's because at this stage you tap into your team's creativity, not just your own. Every solution requires input from different disciplines, right? Designers will weigh in on user experience, developers, engineers will flag technical constraints, maybe they tell you this can't be done. Marketing will consider positioning and messaging. Product will balance feasibility and business value. Usually, gathering all of this input means weeks of back and forth, emails, Slack messages, follow-up meetings, and endless refinements before a workable solution takes shape. But there is a better way. Get everyone involved from the beginning to avoid surprises later and capture all of the insights, all of your team's expertise up front. The best way to do that, you guessed it, another workshop. This time it's a design sprint. By following this structured process, you'll arrive at a customer validated solution that the entire team has contributed to and is aligned around. And you don't have to figure out alone. To learn how to set up and run the workshop, you can use our Design Sprint Master GPT. The link is in the description below the video. With your team fully aligned on a solution, it's time for the next step: build the prototype. Now that you have the solution, don't rush to build it just yet. Before investing time and resources, you need evidence that users actually want it. The best way to find out: prototype and then test it. The good news is that prototyping today is easier than ever before. You don't need a long time, like days or weeks. You don't need dedicated engineering or design teams to build something functional. You can use AI powered tools to generate high fidelity prototypes using prompts like you see in this screen here. And you're going to get a realistic facade that you can put in front of the customers. There are plenty of AI tools out there. The one I use and test is Wizard by Miro Labs. This is what you see here. And you can move from idea to prototype in a very short amount of time and build this realistic prototype you can put in front of your users. As you can see, I already prompted Wizard with the solution that the team has created in the previous step in the design sprint. I described it in natural language, and now I'm waiting for Wizard to process this request and work its magic and come up with a prototype. This recording is not edited or anything. You can see it's actually quite quick to come up with a prototype. It's less than 2 minutes to do this. So let's just wait a little bit more and see what's happening. The screens should be here any second now. Here they are. All right. So as you can see, we have a prototype. It's not perfect by any means, but it just took 2 minutes. And it's close enough to the solution that the team has come up with in the previous step in the design sprint. Now you have a full day to work with the tool and go refine each of these steps screen by screen using prompts. Like you can go to each prompt the AI and ask it to make any changes that you want. So that's why I'm saying prototyping today is very easy. Should take less than 1 day to have a solid, realistic facade of your product that you can put in front of the users. Once you have a working prototype, it's time for the next step: testing with real users to validate whether your solution actually solves their problem. This isn't just a usability test, far from that. You're not just checking to see if they can use it, if everything is where it should be. You want to see how they use it to solve their problem. And to get meaningful insights, follow the 5 act interview script from Design Sprint. If you need a guide, ask our Design Sprint Master GPT on how to run it effectively. Record the interview using, again, Otter AI so you don't miss any details, and then cluster insights and extract patterns using Miro, making it easier to see what's working and what's not. By the end of these interviews, you'll know what works about your solution, what doesn't, what needs to change, and most importantly, you'll have enough learnings to inform your next steps with confidence. Now that you've tested your solution, it's time for the final step: moving things into action. Now you're finally ready to pitch your solution to stakeholders. But this isn't going to be just another boring presentation, a business case filled with assumptions and guessworks. No, no, no. You're showing them something real, a solution that has been validated by customers, a solution to a problem that your leadership has agreed on and prioritized in the first place using that for you workshop, remember? So imagine it's between you and another person presenting their ideas. Your presentation, backed by real user insights and a working prototype, and the other person is showing a flashy PowerPoint filled with assumptions and fantasy numbers. Who do you think will win? I think it goes without saying, and this time you'll have the upper hand. And for a change, when you do this pitch, this should not be or doesn't need to be a workshop. It can be a regular meeting. Just make sure you have a clear agenda, timeline, and scope so the next steps are obvious. So there you have it: a repeatable process to consistently find opportunities and solutions to get everyone on board: your team, your stakeholders, and most importantly, your customers. Now it's your turn to put it into action. But maybe you still have questions, even doubts, right? So let's talk about them. This sounds complicated. It's actually simpler than you think. You don't need a massive overhaul of how you work today, just a structured approach. The free tools we provide, like the For You workshop, the problem statement workshop, they walk you through the process step by step. Most teams tend to overcomplicate innovation, creating new products, but once you try this, you'll see how this process eliminates guesswork and speeds things up. My company won't adopt this. Well, change doesn't have to happen company wide from the very beginning. Start small, pick one problem, take it through this process, and show the results. When your team and leadership see how quickly you can validate an idea, they want to do it more. You don't need permission, just proof that it works. We don't have time for this. Really? What's costing you more? Spending a week validating an idea or spending months and millions building something no one wants? This system is designed to save you time, cutting down wasted effort, endless debates, and failed launches. If anything, you don't have time not to do this. We're already doing something similar. Great, but ask yourself, how effective is it or why isn't it working? Are you still struggling with stakeholder buy in? Still seeing ideas get stuck in approval loops? The difference here is that this approach I showed combines structured workshops, rapid validation, and stakeholder alignment all in one go. Even if you're doing parts of this, integrating the full system will eliminate inefficiencies and speed up results. So what's next? You have two options. One, grab our free tools, the For You workshop, the problem statement workshop, the design sprint GPT, and all of the other resources we linked under this video. Use them today and start seeing immediate impact. But there's also a shortcut. You can take the problem framing masterclass and get a head start on mastering this system. You don't need to guess. We have everything figured out for you. It's what we use in our work. You will have video lessons to guide you, Miro templates, worksheets, workshop formats, and live coaching to guide you when you need it, community support as well. It's an entire system to guide your work and help you implement what you've seen in this video. But whatever your decision you're making, one thing it's important, start today.